Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. We are back. We are back. It is Monday. It is time to start your day and, in fact, start your week. It's funny because we've been talking in the background. Been having a lovely chat with my wonderful guest, the lovely Karen Wood, who'll be joining us shortly. And because I've been gassing away, I never realised, of course, that I haven't got a comment screen. So I'm involving it into the conversation like this so that I can let Richard know without having to stop and say, there we go, because that's what we do. There we are. Um, so I will be able to now see all of you wonderful people in the wonderful SPTV land coming through to say hello and see how you are, see what you're up to. So, rule number one, say good morning, say hello. We'll try and say hello back. Rule number two, share and like. Get the message out that we're on. But most importantly, have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourselves and get involved with the conversation because it is your show. We're going to start saying hello in a moment. But of course, I want to remind everybody that we will be giving messages throughout the whole show, all the way through till around about 12:30. And you get a message if you ask a question. So ask your questions. But please remember to share because getting the word out and letting people know that we're here, we are live, and we are online is the most important thing. Sharing the love is the most important thing. So, and do not ever, 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 under pain of Richard being grumpy with you, use the star system because we don't. SPTV will never ask you to send stars. The message that you are seeing at the bottom of your comments is there by Facebook, not SPTV. So we would never get anything from it anyway. So you'd just be wasting your money. It would be going straight to Facebook and not to SPTV. So no stars, no stars. The stars are you. So please remember to share and like. And if you feel like it, join in the campaign, the crusade, the love and the laughter by becoming a VIP. Because I tell you what, the comments and the conversations that go on VIP are amazing. You're missing out if you're not in it. And it's only 37p a week. And we do in the VIP area, we do have a special psychic art evening, which is awesome. So that's brilliant. Lots going on then. And of course, today there's lots going on. I've mentioned that in a moment I'll be introducing my wonderful, wonderful guest, Karen Wood, who's been a part of SPTV longer than I even knew it existed. I'll put my hands up. But Karen and I have been talking, and we've got quite a few mutual friends that we've just been gas bagging about. You know who you are. And later on, of course, we'll be having the lovely Kate May and her tarot scope, which I always look forward to. But let's kick off by saying hello to the ones that matter, lovely people at home. So get commenting, and I'll start off by saying good morning to Stace Shaw. Good morning to, it's really big good morning there. Natalie, good morning to you. Lovely view of the sea behind you there. Christine Davis over on YouTube. Hello, my darling. Nice to see you back. Seems like forever. Sandra E, good morning all. Good morning to you. Natasha, good morning and hello to you. Oh, this is sweetie saying hello there as well in that picture. Isn't that lovely? Dawny Walden, good morning. Nick and everyone, good morning to you, my dear. Emma Sloan says hello. Well, I say hello back. So welcome to the show. Thank you for stopping along. Kaylee Byrne, good morning. And 2 kisses. We are blessed. Good morning, Kaylee. Mother, also known to everyone else as Linda Brown. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mother. Good morning. She lets me borrow her conservatory. I've got to say hello to her. Casey Walker, hello. Good morning to you. And Kaylee Byrne is joining in the conversation already by saying good morning to Stace. And that's what I love about SPTV, the conversation going on even without us. It's brilliant. Shelley Stewart says, good morning, homies. Good morning, the lovely Shelley. Good morning to you. And Kaza, lots of purple hearts. We love the purple hearts. Good morning, Kaza. Hello to you. Melanie Whelan says good morning, everyone, with a purple heart too. So good morning, my darling. Welcome, Melanie. And so let's say another good morning, shall we, to someone I'm really, really excited to talk to, not just for spiritual content and for engagement, but also in case I get any juicy gossip about some old friends of mine. So let's say good morning and a start your day welcome to the lovely Karen Wood. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
Oh, fabulous. All the better for seeing you, my darling. It's always good to have someone to talk to.
Lovely.
So, for those that are new today, and I know it's a bit of a Roy Walker moment, what's your name and where'd you come from and what do you do?
My name is Karen Wood. I'm from East Sussex and I'm a spiritualist medium. And tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be.
I can see we are going to have some fun here. I tell you, this is exciting. So, Karen, thank you for joining us today. It is a real pleasure to see you, to chat with you. We've been having a bit of a giggle, obviously, already. But in all seriousness, thank you for coming on. And I want to just touch on something that you were talking to me about yesterday. You develop mediums as part of the work that you do.
I do.
Which for me, is actually a vital core of everything that is spiritualism. But I've always wanted to ask somebody else this question and don't very often get the chance to. What part of the development and developing other people do you enjoy the most?
Oh, I enjoy all of it really, Nick. But the thing that gets me is when someone comes in and the beginners. Now I've got a beginners group at the moment, and I've been working with them with colour. And when they start talking about things, and all of a sudden it makes sense to who they're sharing the information with, and you can just see their little faces light up. And yes. Oh, I got that. Oh, the passion, you can see it all coming together. And it's what I call the wonderment. When they realise that wonderment, that they've got an intuition, they've got a gift, and also when they first connect with the spirit world for the first time, and they actually get a contact and they start getting information, and that information's taken, and it always takes me back to that first time that happened to me. You always remember that first time when you connected with spirit, and again, it's all about the wonderment,
Yes.
It's and the magic of that.
Oh, love you. I can see we're going to get on like a house on fire, and one that is a house on fire rather than just burning down a house. Excellent stuff. It's always interesting to see what people get out of spirit, and you're absolutely right, that sudden glazed, half fear, half excitement. Oh my God, it's real and I can do it moment.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. So everyone at home, if you've got questions about development, if you've got questions about mediumship, spiritualism, remember, you guide the conversation. It's your conversation. Put Karen and myself to the test. Give us questions, we will answer. And if you get an answer, you may well get a reading as well. You never know. And so Eva says, hello, Eva.
My friend Eva from Sweden. Hello, Eva.
You say hello to your friend Eva from Sweden.
Hello, Eva. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being with us. Oh, she's such a lovely lady. She really is.
Yes, absolutely. Do you know, it's funny. It's becoming more and more obvious that we walk in similar circles because there's names that we both recognise. Oh, okay. Yeah, we know this. What is it? It's such fun. Kim Byrne. Good morning, Nick and Richard. And of course, she didn't know when it was, typed with Karen as well. It's really exciting to have someone to talk to. And I'm just kind of geeking out at the moment, a bit like Richard with his technology. that we get excited about. So everyone at home, please remember it's your conversation. Chris says, "Morning, everyone. Sorry can't be with you all this morning, but have a fab."
Oh,
See, this is the community, isn't it? Though
it is. It's wonderful. It's
they
wonderful.
can't watch the show, so they come on and say sorry they can't watch the show. It's like, do you get that when people can't make it to a meeting or a service, or say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't come this week." So you're not expected. You know, you don't have to force yourself. But that's just what. Oh. So yeah, technically Chris is briefly watching the show, as Richard quite rightly points out. But yeah, you know, it's lovely how communities build, don't you think, Karen?
Definitely, and you've definitely got a great community on SPTV, and you have that in churches and centres, you know, as well. And it's important, don't you think, Nick, at this time when people need to get together. And what's amazing, I don't know if you've found this in churches, but fabulous friendships are formed when people, and also in our church, we had a few sort of like weddings and people getting together through just coming to the church on their own after a bereavement. We had a few weddings at our church that I used to belong to. So it's
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I've just been asked to do a naming. I've just done a naming ceremony. I've just been asked to do a retaking of vows service for a member of our church, which I'm so excited about, because I always look forward to the nice ones. You know?
Yes, definitely.
The happier of the three wheels.
Yes, definitely.
But you're absolutely right. Friendships are formed and communities grow. I have to admit, I saw a wonderful, wonderful post this morning on Facebook. I'm sure you've probably heard these words. It was someone, I'm not going to say who and when yet, but it was someone saying, "I have great concerns about the future of this way of life and ego and direction and all of the things that we're saying at the moment." But it was actually written by Leslie Flint in 1993.
Oh my God.
So we have the same issues and the same problems, but thankfully the same joys every step of the way.
Do you know what? This sort of like validates what I've been talking about, because I have conversations with friends about spiritualism and what have you. And I said, you know, I've been saying that, you know, I think throughout history, the history of spiritualism, there's been good mediums and there's been maybe not such good mediums. And I think and everybody says, oh, it was better years ago. And maybe we had some fantastic mediums years ago, but we've also got some good mediums now. And we've got some great mediums coming forward. So I think through every time, through every era, there's always been good, and there's always been maybe not so good. Yeah. So I think it doesn't matter. And it's interesting, 1993. So I was at a conference a few years ago, and someone had a psychic news dating back to the 1940s, I think it was, and they were even moaning then.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, 43, that'd have still been Maurice Barbanel, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
So I mean, you got good old Maurice sitting there letting everyone have a whinge.
Yeah.
You know, and this, I'm totally with you, Karen, because I've always believed that we put the past on a pedestal, the present gets very little credit, and we fear the future in case someone else is in charge. You know, and that has, in my view and experience, never actually changed from one day to the next and from one period to the next. So I think that the core view, and I'm pretty sure you're probably going to agree with it, is that the quiet ones write the future while the loud ones take the credit because they're just getting on and doing it.
Yeah, that's very true. And some people, it's like there's another thing that's going around at the moment about, you know, young people in spiritualism. Well, I was young once, and I came into spiritualism when I was sort of like in my late 20s, and I still feel as if I'm in my late 20s sometimes, and I still try to have that young at heart approach. And I'm not done and dusted yet, even though I'm probably maybe I call it the late autumn of my years now. But I can remember when people wanted encouraging me to move forward and be in the church and to bring my point of view in, and I did.
Good for you.
And I did, and I was on a committee for many years, which is not easy, juggling work, and I was working then as well and had a family. So, but I had this passion, and I loved it, and it was something that has been part of my life for well over 30 years now. So,
Wow,
yeah,
brilliant. I have to
yeah,
admit, once again, totally agree with you. I joined spiritualism when I was 18, committee of the church when I was 18, because I was co-opted virtually straight away. I
that's
was,
young. That's
yeah, and
young.
I was actually on the East London district when I was 21, I think it was.
Wow.
So, unless we forget that Gordon Higginson sat in development from the age of 3 years old because his mum couldn't get someone to look after him, so I think we should be encouraging youth. And it ties in very well with our first question.
Absolutely. Yes.
Dawney Walden says, is there a suitable speed to learn? I am developing, but feel spirit are constantly giving me new things to work with. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, Dawn, are you never stop developing, to be honest with you. I mean, I still develop now. My mediumship changes. I welcome new things coming into my work. But I think people are under the conception that once you work on the platform, that's it, you're done. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're developing all the time. You're working with your spirit team and trying to improve constantly. And if you plateau, if you stop your development, then you just plateau and you might as well stop working, in my opinion. If you're thinking about wanting to get up onto the platform, if you're sitting in circle or going to classes, speak to your teachers, converse with your teachers and ask them to help you if that's what you want. If you want to work with private readings, speak to your teachers. I give my students what I call little half-term reports. So we have a little private chat and we talk about where they're going and what they're doing. And I've got a couple now that are out there working on the platform, doing private readings. I encourage them to go to fledgling nights and things like that. But I always say, and they call me like their spiritual mum. They said, but I'm always there to give them that support if they need to come back to me to ask about anything. So I'm always there. But they're still sitting in circle with me. But maybe we ought to have. I mean, I love to sit sometimes with some friends and just meditate and just be and just sit and see what happens with the spirit world. And I still go to listen to lectures and discussion groups because I find that I learn a lot from there as well. So you're learning all the time. You never stop.
Do you also find that you actually learn from the experiences of those that you work with in development?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, we work with the different facets of the personalities of the communicator, because when you're young, you're different to how you are when you're older. And I encourage my students to bring through the different facets. And I've had some wonderful messages from my students bringing through the different facets of my family.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely amazing. And they've brought through things where I'm thinking, wow, I've never told them that. That's a different facet to my dad or to my mum, and I just think it's wonderful to watch
Yes.
it's their unfoldment and how they progress.
Wonderful. So as far as a suitable speed, whatever speed it is that you're going, I would say.
I mean, I think we live in an instant world, Nick. You can tap on and get your dinner delivered. You can get instant information all the time. And you must have sat in circles and you're just encouraged to just sit, just be and allow spirit to guide you. And if you go out too quickly, then I think that's not a good thing. I think that you need the guidance of a good circle leader, a good tutor, and don't rush. There's no time limit.
Yeah.
You know, there's no time limit on it at all. And also, you use your own intuition. Use your own intuition. I find that sometimes churches will say, "Oh, get up on the platform," but if you don't feel ready, if you don't want to, it's no good you doing it if you don't feel right, even if somebody tells you to. You've got to use your own intuition and do it when you feel ready.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you. And I will just add to that, I'm reminded of a name you might recognize, Joyce Gobbett.
Oh, no, that's not one I recognise.
Oh, I'll tell you about her later. She once said to me, Nick, it takes years and years and years to develop your mediumship, but not the mediumship part. It's explaining it to everyone else as a messenger layer. You know, and she's absolutely right. You can get stuff from spirit virtually straight away, but structuring it and building that confidence of communicating it, that's what takes time. And I will confess, I was one of these jump to the final chapter kids. You know, I couldn't wait to read the whole story. I had to jump to the final chapter. But by sitting in development, the final chapter wasn't available to me. I had to go chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And it was around about chapter 4 when I realized there was no final chapter. And that's when you get over that kind of aspect of wanting to be out there and doing it and just enjoying the journey.
Absolutely.
It's I totally agree with you, Karen. Totally agree with you. I hope that answers your question, Dawn. I happen to know she'll be at a development workshop on Sunday. You know, with someone not too far away. So look forward to that.
Lovely.
But brilliant. Thank you for the question, Dawn. That was awesome. That was a really, really good question, actually. I think it's really essential that we focus on in development those questions that people are afraid to answer but never did.
Yeah. Never feel silly. I always say this: don't think your questions are silly or stupid. You know, ask your questions because that's how you learn and that's how you move forward. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Lovely. Dawny says that's great. Thank you. Talk with my teacher to know how to progress higher levels in the future. Then, yeah. Winky face. Thank you, Dawny. Excellent. So, do we have? Sorry, you said something, Richard, and I've completely gone mine. Yes, it's gone really, really overcast here. So we are just going to have a technical commercial break. So let us jump straight into the wonderful Kate May while I adjust my lighting. Oh, I got in trouble there. I forgot my own catchphrase. Richard, darling, roll VT.
Good morning, welcome to my channel, Kate May Modern Day Mystic. We are looking at the week ahead for the 22nd of May 2023. We're going to go straight in with Aries and see what your week ahead vibe is. It's the Page of Swords, Aries. Now this indicates that you've got a lot on your mind this week. You could be dealing with a younger person, perhaps someone a teenager, or perhaps in their early 20s, who's also got a lot on their mind, maybe a little bit of mental health issues going on there. So they're going to be needed to be looked after a little bit and maybe a bit more TLC around them. But yourself this week, Aries, you have got a lot on your mind. There's lots of things that you're thinking about, lots of things that you want to be doing. So this week, it's like trying to pull back the energy a little bit there so that you can try and get some of those ideas out your head. Write them down on paper, start ticking them off so they're not confusing you or overwhelming you. Delays may happen this week for you, Aries, but they will come around the week after. Taurus. The Death card, but it's reversed. So Taurus, we have endings around you that have already been. You're well into your new moon's energy now. Taurus, if things haven't finalised, they definitely are going to be finalising very soon. So think about what needs to be ending. But if you have had closure, then that door is closing and you are accepting it, ready for a new beginning around you. Gemini. 5 of Wands, Gemini. You could be battling things this week. You might be finding that there is lots of different people's opinions going on around you and everyone has an answer for everything. So you may have to step back from things for a little while and listen to everyone's opinion. You might have to just recognise that an opinion is an opinion. It's not necessarily right or wrong. However, recognise that everyone does have something to say. Choose your battles wisely, Gemini. Cancer, you're moving into calmer waters. If things have been a bit of a battle for you, fear not. Things are calming down. You might not know exactly where you're heading, but the transition is going to be a lot easier for you. So you're moving into calmer water and things will be calmer soon. Leo, Queen of Swords. What is it you need to say? What do you need to get off your chest? Something here needs to be addressed this week, Leo. Now, not everyone likes to hear the truth. However, it is needed. So think about what really is on your mind. Where do you need to cut some clarity and speak your truth to be able to get focused once more? Virgo, 8 of Cups. You're recognizing that perhaps what you thought you wanted, you no longer want. So you're moving into calmer waters and you're moving away from things that no longer serve you. You're leaving things behind that just have done their day, or perhaps people that have done their day. But you're going in search of yourself, Virgo. You're going in search of new things, things that are really going to be in your emotional, spiritual alignment. Libra, the Hangman. You're hanging around this week, Libra. You have to see things from a different perspective. This isn't the week to make decisions or big choices. This is the week to kind of just be in that limbo phase so that you can see things differently. You might have to make some sacrifices or break some habits. Think about long-term goals, where you want to be in 2, 3, 4 years, not necessarily 2 or 3 weeks. Scorpio, 2 of Cups. United, perhaps in love, perhaps in a good emotional connection. 2 people coming together, so there should be some good news for you, Scorpios. This week brings harmony. If there's been any arguments, if there's been any disruption, brings harmony and a union. You could be engaging in things or bartering in things. Sagittarius, 10 of Wands. You've got a lot on your plate, Saggies, so be mindful that you don't take on too much now. Keep going though, because you're nearly at the finish line. Things have been very busy for you, may have been overwhelming for you, but just a little bit longer, you're almost there. Capricorn, yes, Capricorn, forgot where I was there. Queen of Pentacles, this is your card, Capricorn. Lovely and comfortable week. You're using your resources very wisely. You're feeling comfortable around your finances. You should be in for some good news around your finances very soon, Capricorn. You're feeling secure and you're in a very good position to be able to help others. You can manage everything this week, the home, the work, the kids, the family, the friends. You've got it all together. You've got your shit together. Aquarius. 6 of Pentacles. Money's coming in, Aquarius. If you were asking for some money, it is coming in. If you want to reach out for a loan or lend some, it is there. However, you've got to remember you have to pay it back. It's all about balance with money. What comes in goes out, but what goes out comes back in again. You could be feeling extra generous this week, Aquarians, but remember to get that balance. And Pisces, the world, new cycles, new chapters. Things are coming full circle for you, Pisces, ready for a whole new beginning. How exciting, a whole new cycle, a whole new chapter, and perhaps travel. If you want to know more, www.katemay.co.uk.
And we are back, and you can see me again. I'm not necessarily sure whether that's a good or a bad thing, but nonetheless, it's not as dark, and we are here to cheer people up and bring light into their life. So, you know, seeing is good.
Yes.
Now, Karen, we have got a really excellent question. I know you can see it, so I'm sure you're preparing. I think this is a really, really good question, actually.
It is. It is.
Stace Shaw. Hey, Stace, good morning. Asks, seen a conversation on Facebook on the use of the word fledglings being used to describe beginners of mediumship. Are you both for or against? And what other ways could you describe new starters? Karen. Over to you.
Do you know what? Hello, Stace. I now I can see your picture. I have. I think we've met before on Zoom. Do you know, it's an interesting one, and it took me to a funny story actually. A few years ago, I was organising a fledgling night, if you call it, and at the church face to face. And one of the ladies that was going to be working, she said, "Karen, I absolutely hate the word fledgling. I feel like a duck." And she said, and she says, "I'm not." So I said, "Well, if you're the little fledgling duck, I'm the mummy duck." But anyway, so I said, "Okay." So I changed the title for the poster to Apprentice Mediums.
Wow. Love it.
So they were my apprentices, and of course, I think, you know, the program Apprentice was on the telly at the time, and I think it still is, but it was popular. So I said Apprentice Mediums, or you could say mediums in training. I don't mind it, but I suppose it does make you think. I suppose it makes you think of somebody sort of like flapping their wings, ready to take off and fly. So it does sort of, you know, descriptively, it's quite
what it
good.
says on the tin.
Yeah, exactly. But I know some people wonder what a fledgling is, and also as a fledgling, you're normally under the wing of a circle leader or a teacher. But then it could be changed. It could be, you know, budding. My ex-boss used to call it, "Oh, when I was in training myself, are you going to budding mediums tonight?" He used to call it that. So what are your thoughts, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, once again, I was fledged. So, you know, I've been in the way of life for about 20 years now. So it was a term that I was introduced to very early on. I get that some people don't like it, but I think the problem is no matter what term you use, there will always be some cause for it to be in a negative light, perhaps.
Yeah.
Because you can't sue everybody all the time. I certainly think the original idea behind it, of that bird sitting on the ledge, ready to jump off on their own for the first time, absolutely, as a descriptive term, completely accurate, and that's exactly how we felt. I'd love to tell the story of the woman who sat next to me in our fledglings evening, but Richard would shut me down because she said a swear.
No.
Not publicly, but whispered it in my ear when she'd finished. You know, but you know, so I get the original meaning, and I enjoy the original meaning, and it still has great value. But you're always gonna find that any word you choose necessarily won't be accepted by everyone. So I personally don't have a problem with it. I enjoy it. I was a fledgling, and I'm happy to admit it. I think because I at one point I started using the term developing mediums, but then when people said, "When do I stop being called a developing medium?" and I said, "Never." You know, it's then it is a boundary and an achievement. To pass as much as a description. Gonna say, you know, back in the day when I was first, you know, developing and starting out, you know, international medium was one that was very, very commonly used. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a medium that isn't international now, because we've all served people in different countries. You know, but then again, you could argue the case that if someone has gone to the effort of getting a plane, fly there, pay the ticket, you know, organize that trip there, then perhaps they are entitled to use that phrase. But it's, I think my personal belief is that we try and put things in boxes too much.
Definitely.
And you know, words and titles do that. I'm an ordained minister, but I don't get promoted on here as Revnik because, you know, I think Richard would tell me to stop, you know, get out of my backside. And he'd probably be right, is the honest truth. But this is very interesting because Stace follows up with, when do you stop getting classified as a fledgling? Technically speaking, for me, as soon as you've jumped off the ledge, you've fledged. So the reason that word was chosen was very precise, because not only, as you said, it was extremely descriptive, but once you've jumped off that ledge, you're fledged.
Well, and also when you start taking services in your own right, when you go to it, I think then you become a medium in your own right, and you're responsible for your own service. You're not getting feedback from your tutor, or I worked with a friend for years. We used to go out on the platform because we liked working together. We were mates, and we used to go out together. And we had such great fun, and bless her, I lost her to the spirit world last year. But we used to have such a time. We used to share the driving. We used to, sometimes if we were working in London, we'd meet up on a readings day and then go for a bite to eat. And then the churches started to say, well, why don't you just work separately? Because then we get you both, but to spread you around a little bit more. So, but I love working with mates. I work on my own, but I love working with friends, on Zoom and face to face as well. But when you can actually take a full divine service, and I don't just mean a demonstration of mediumship. I mean a service that includes the prayers, the reading, if you bring your own reading, the address, and the demonstration and the closing prayer. When you can do that and you've got that under your belt a few times, then I think you're sort of out there. You've then got you've got your P plates, you've got your P plates. Yeah. So you're driving on your own, and you're going to the services, and you're doing everything under your own steam. Even when I was doing that, I still went back to my circle. I still sat in my circle, because I think that's important as well,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kim Burns says it's a leap of faith. So fledgling is apt. Yeah,
absolutely.
It is. It really is a leap of faith, isn't it? This lady has been telling you for a couple of weeks now, you really should give it a go, and it's like that. You mentioned something really important there, that being fully fledged, if you want to use that term, which I love, actually, like I said, I think it's apt. Fully fledged is giving prayers and philosophy as well.
Oh, yes. Now,
how important do you feel it is to be able to lead in prayer and speak philosophy on behalf of spirit?
Absolutely mandatory, extremely important to me, Nick. Philosophy is I love my demonstrating, as lots of people on here know, because that's what they know me for. But I love philosophy, love it. I love a good discussion group. I love talking about things. I will philosophize even when I'm not in a church.
Yes. I think we need to do the pinky thing to each other, because I'm with you on that, absolutely. And in actual fact, this falls into the philosophy category, this next question, so I think you're going to enjoy answering this one. Natasha asks, can spirit see our future and help lead us in the path we want?
Right.
Over to you, darling.
Okay. Now, Natasha, we are here for, I don't say a journey, well, we are here for a journey and we do learn, but we are here to experience. And it's interesting because this was what I spoke about last night in my address. Now, spirit will guide us and help us when we really, really need them to. But they're not on speed dial. They're not on, they inspire us to actually lead our own lives and take personal responsibility for that life while we're here. They can help us, and they do when we're really, really, when we're in dire straits. And I've had spirit help me and guide me. But life can be a little bit like riding a bike, when we get on the bike, when we start off, we have a 3-wheeler bike and we go pedaling along and we get used to that. And we've got that security, and that comes from family. It comes from things that we learn along our way. And then as we go on, we get to a bigger bike with stabilizers, and eventually we start to take the stabilizers off. And I see the spirit world helping us a little bit like that. But once we're okay, and once they feel that we're all right, then we go on that journey on our bikes on our own and doing our own thing. And sometimes the last bit of your question, leading on us on a path that we want. Now, during readings and during sittings, people come and they sit down and it's all about what they want. But the spirit world quite often give them what they need. And sometimes when you need to stand on your own 2 feet, or you need to realise that you are strong enough within your own spirit, they will allow you to do that as well. We have to sort of stand on our own 2 feet. We're here for experiences. If we went sort of like, if we sort of like coasted through life, we wouldn't have the challenges and we wouldn't be able to appreciate the good times. Because in life we have like yin and yang. There's times when we go through tough, when we go through awful trauma, grief, but they also come through and they guide people to help us. There's a story. I'm going to share a little story that I said last night in my address. There was a priest on an island, and I read this somewhere. It's a story I read online. There was a priest on an island, and the island is sinking. So because he's a very dutiful priest, he wants to send everybody off the island, and they say, what about you? What about you? God will provide. God will prevail. So he stays on the island, and he's sitting there. And everybody's gone, and he's sitting on the island, and the island's sinking. A boat comes along and says, come on, you've got to get on the boat. You've got to get on the boat. No, God will provide. God will prevail. And he stays on the island. Helicopter comes with a ladder. Quick, you've got to get off now. You're just about to sink. No, God will provide. God will prevail. And unfortunately, he goes over to the spirit world and he meets God and he says, God, why didn't you provide? Why didn't you prevail? Why am I here? He said, didn't you see the boat or the helicopter? Why didn't you? So sometimes it's signs, that we miss. And sometimes those signs can sort of motivate us as well, because we have that, we are spirit in a physical body, and we can be motivated to do something. We have that intuition. And I don't really want spirit to tell me my future. Why would I want to know my future? I don't want to know that. I just want to enjoy the fun that I'm having now, the moment that I'm in. And if we knew too much about the future, we would only worry. So I think we've got to have the expectation, the excitement of life, a bit like a roller coaster. You never know when you're going to go round a sharp bend, when you're going to go up and down. And that's the excitement for life. Why do we want to know? Why do we want to sort of go to the end before we've even started the chapter? So I think spirit, maybe they do know what's in front of us, but I don't think it's their place to tell us. I think it's our place to go on that adventure and find out for ourselves.
Amen to that. By the way, I love your recounting of the story of the helicopter priest. By the way, I've heard a couple of different versions of that, and it is so true. I totally agree. What I would add about the future part is, you're absolutely right. People do become obsessed with that, and that is why I tend to avoid it.
Yeah.
But for Natasha, think of it this way. Imagine that we are standing underneath the Eiffel Tower, and spirit, they always sit at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Now, by the very nature of the Earth being curved, when you look out of the horizon, you can see a particular distance. Spirit, being at the top of the Eiffel Tower, can see a little bit further, but you're forgetting that you can see how it's going to unfold in the immediate distance as much as they can. So, as Karen quite rightly said, enjoy your journey and be part of the telling of your story. Because if you don't take ownership of your story, someone else will, and that is even worse. You know,
do you not find though that I get lots of people come to me and ask me questions, which is fine, but they say, "Am I going to get married or am I going to move?" And I always say, "Well, do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to get married? Do you want to move?"
Exactly.
Oh, there was a lady. This is going back years ago in the church, and she was a lovely lady, and she was from Scotland originally, and she said, "Oh, I'm going back to Scotland," and I went, "Oh," because she'd been living in England for years, and I said, "Why is that?" And she said, "Because Spirit have told me to." I said, "But do you want to go? You've got a life here." "Oh, well, Spirit have told me, so I'm going."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have to be careful.
We do.
And if she wants to go, and that's fine. But if you want to get married, get married. If you don't want to get married, don't.
Yeah. It is so much, and it really, really does fall in with number 5, personal responsibility.
Definitely.
And it's one of my favourite ones, and I'll always harp on about it.
Mine too.
Funny,
Love
I hadn't noticed already. Done. It's kind of, it's the shortest. Oh, I'm not sharing that one. Richard's, brotherhood of man, the fatherhood of God, the communion of spirits, and the ministry of angels, personal responsibility. You've also got compensation and retribution, continuous existence, and eternal progress open to every human soul. All 7, Richard.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I do. The reason I just rattled off the 7 principles, and I've got a question for Karen about those actually, as well from me. Richard just said the reason that people talk about the personal responsibility so much is it's the only one that they can remember. So I just wanted to prove that I actually knew what I was preaching, because you can't preach unless you practice. But yeah, there is a bit of a debate that I confess, Karen, that I'm heavily involved in at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There is a phrase that is used, and it's been used for years and years and years again, that I don't necessarily agree is 100% the true regarding detail.
Mm-hmm.
We say that the 7 principles of spiritualism, as given to Emma Hardinge Britten by Spirit, when in actual fact they were her summary of the 10 spiritual commandments that she was given, along with the 10 spiritual laws of right, as she called them, back in those trance sittings where Spirit actually did communicate. I think it started off at 4, then went to 6, then went to 8, and eventually ended up as 10. Are we right to say the 7 principles as given by Emma Hardinge Britten, or as given to Emma Hardinge Britten by Spirit, or should we acknowledge that they are a summary of a greater whole?
My own personal view is, does it matter where they came from, really? They are, does it have to be verbatim? Who knows what actually happened, unless you go back, unless Richard develops a time machine for us and we can all go back and see exactly what happened. No one knows. It's a little bit like hearsay throughout any religion. We weren't there, so we don't know. But they have formed the foundation to what we know as spiritualism.
Yeah.
And I actually really love the principles. I do, and I think they shouldn't be changed. I think they are as they are. And I never say the 7 principles. I always refer to them as the principles.
principles.
The principles. Because it doesn't matter. All right, you start off with the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, but it doesn't matter how we work with them, and because, you know, now there's an interesting debate that I'm hosting on Wednesday night on Zoom, as part of the East London District Council, and Minister Barry Oates is coming, and he's going to talk about spiritualism in the 21st century. And so that will be an interesting debate if you want to come on, Nick.
I'd love to come and see him.
Yeah. And he's talking about them, and he's having questions and all things like that. So if you're free, I'll send you the Zoom details. And if anybody else wants to come on to talk about them, Richard, if you're free, or anybody else, come along. Because for years, when I first went into the church, these list was on the wall, and they're there, and nobody says what they are. Sometimes churches recite them, but you don't know this. First of all, some people don't know the story behind them, and they also don't know what they mean. And again, Minister Barry Oates, along with two other people, a lady and another gentleman, David Hopkins and a lady called Carol, and I can't remember her last name, wrote a book called The Philosophy of Spiritualism. And I only picked that up when I was doing some education within my development. And it's a great book, and Barry has sort of he's progressed that as well. And he, you know, it's an interesting book, and it makes you look at them in a different way. And it makes you, and when you talk about them, you can relate them to your own life. And I had to do an essay once on personal responsibility, and I used an incident that my son was going through to do with bullying in this essay. And it was about here and now, it was about life, it was about what he was going through. And he took personal responsibility for what was going on, and he stood up to the people that was bullying him. And I was so proud of him for owning that and taking the responsibility and not allowing that to affect him.
Yeah.
So they do relate today as much as they did years and years ago. And wherever they came from, yes, they probably everything. We are spirit in a physical body. So sometimes when we say things come from our spirit. And it doesn't matter if it does come from our spirit, because our spirit is just as important as everybody else's. And I know Emma Hardinge Britton was a wonderful medium and a fabulous pioneer of our movement. And she stood her ground. And I take my hat off to that woman, because she paved the way for women, for mediumship, for spiritualism. Sorry, I'm going a bit passionate now.
Go for it. Go for it. Don't apologise for that.
She travelled around America in difficult times when women didn't do that. They were at home embroidering and cooking, and they didn't have a voice. She had a voice. She had consultations with Abraham Lincoln. She was on her own, being attacked, but she was well known, and people let her pass. She was heckled in small towns. She was, she's one of my heroes and a wonderful pioneer. So if she had anything to do with it, that's fine by me. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Absolutely. And I absolutely. And it is a comment that Julie Caswell made just a moment ago. Can I just go back to that, Richard? That I think really, really matters, and which is why I'm passionate about the work of Emma Hardinge Britton. So Julie Caswell, about the 7 principles. I think it was the one before that. Julie said, I'm a spiritualist and don't agree with all of the 7 principles, but I'm still a spiritualist. And that is the difference between us and other ways of life, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have issue with some of the perhaps understanding of the 7 principles, but we have to remember that these were, regardless of the source, written in Victorian times.
Yes.
So it was very much focused on that. I mean, I've in the organization that I'm a part of, we've adopted all three sets of principles: the 10 spiritualist commandments, the 10 laws of right, and the 7 principles as the summary. I love the way you refer to them as the principles with a lowercase t. That is a beautiful way of putting it, because it is that looseness to it. With you take what you get, which is why I love number 10 of the original principles, the first principles that were committed, that she summarized with a 7 of whatever precepts, creeds, or rules that do not agree with your highest self of right, shut them away, set them aside, whilst always remembering that love wins. Paraphrasing, of course. But she absolutely hit it well and truly on the head with that, which is the reason I always bring it up, is because there was so much more depth to her work than the summary that she gave to summarize her work. So I would love to see everyone knowing. I don't expect everyone to be able to recite them, because if you are, as I believe, a spiritualist, you live them all anyway.
Well, that's it. They're the foundation, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we might not all. And it's interesting what Julie said, because she doesn't agree with them, but she's still a spiritualist, so she's still got that core. She's still got that belief. And maybe she could have a debate. We could have a debate about them, and this is what we're doing on Wednesday night.
Yes.
And everybody can come to the table, because you might hear somebody's point of view, and it might make you think. And it might because eternal progress is open to every human soul, and it doesn't matter. It starts here and now. Yes. So we might have a conversation about something. I wrote a word. I was doing a philosophy class in my circle one workshop, and I wrote forgiveness on my flip chart. And one lady stood up and she said, "I don't like that word. I find that difficult to say and to do." And so we debated it. We spoke about it, and she sat and she listened and she took it all on board. And she said, "Do you know what?" She said, "You've really made me think and change my perspective of that word now." So we got her over a hurdle, because obviously there was issues that she struggled with in her life, but we got her over that hurdle. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Karen. Wonderful. We are going to have some adverts now, just to give us a moment. And then we'll come back with some more questions and some messages. So stay tuned, see what's coming up next. And for the second time of Data Course, I'll remember to say it this time so I won't get in trouble. Richard, roll VT.
My Spirit Life is a free online interactive magazine for those who have an interest in improving their spiritual lives. Authors can upload images, videos, and audio clips to their own articles. The public can place comments, rate the article, and follow the author. All articles are vetted before being published. For more information and to place your own article, please visit myspiritlife.co.uk. Tonight from 8 p.m, Robert D. Lee demonstrates his mediumship abilities while offering free readings to our viewers. Tomorrow from 6:30 p.m, SPTV Community Showcase offers our viewers the opportunity to have their own show, be it readings or their own thoughts and opinions. Ellie Charles demonstrates her mediumship and divine inspiration from 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
And I'm sure the conversation during the advert break will continue well into the afternoon. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, we were actually going to bring this up with the community. So what we're talking about is the status of hosting on Start Your Day. What do you think, everyone, about having part-time co-hosts. So having a month with, I knew Alan would come up with that one. I will come back to that one. What do you think about having part-time co-hosts where we have, say, a month of an individual co-hosting with me and then moving on to someone else, so people don't feel that they have to commit the rest of their life to a Monday afternoon? And I was just asking whether Karen would be available, because I'm very much enjoying a company. We do have similar views, but I don't think either of us are afraid to explore the nuances of that difference, but in a friendly, polite, and engaging way that helps people learn, which I think is vital.
Definitely.
We shouldn't always all agree on everything, because otherwise, learning doesn't happen when we 100% agree on everything. But I think what's important is how that conversation evolves. And I'm very much enjoying talking with you today, Karen.
Well, I'm enjoying talking with you, Nick. I feel like, we've only met today. Yeah. We had a little text message yesterday, but I feel like I've known you for years.
I know. It is. But don't you find that happens when you meet someone that's on a similar wavelength? So I'm really enjoying it. Everyone, tell Karen everyone, tell Karen not only is she a fun part of the family, but whether you'd like her to commit herself, let's not force her into it too much. But I'm going to say, would you be able to, I'm just relaying Richard's words, not mine. Would you be prepared to commit yourself to putting up with me for a month?
Yes, if we can find a month where I'm free on a Monday. I've got a few commitments coming up over the next few weeks, but I would be happy to come and host with you, co-host you for a month. I would love it.
Fabulous. Well, in that case, we'll have to do speakings later.
We will.
And naturally evolving, spirit do take charge, don't they?
They do.
Val Cox has got a question. Oh, here we go.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Karen, please. I love her, from Eunice. Thank you, Eunice. Christine says sounds great. What else have we got? Let's hear from the family.
Oh, thank you.
Shelley says, I like you, Karen. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I like this. This is nice.
This is fun. Stace says that sounds interesting. We keep it fresh and varied. So that's a yes. Kim Byrne would love to see Karen again.
Thank you.
You're feeling the love of the family now.
I am. It's lovely.
Sandra E, I have enjoyed the open chat between you both. There we are, you see. Julie Caswell, yes, would love Karen. There we are.
Lovely. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I think the family says you're stuck with us now.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Lovely.
Kaylee Byrne says, would love it. Great conversation. There we go. And I've got to say, from me personally, yes, I would love you to come back.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's it then. Okay.
So back to work before we get in too much trouble. Val Cox wants to know what you think of Doris Stokes. Someone bought me her book, and I found it very interesting.
I never saw.
Sorry, Richard. And then
Okay. I never saw Doris work, but I have, and I've never read her books, but so I don't know that much about her. But I have to say, she probably became one of the, shall we say, first well-known mediums, because she'd written books and she also used to do the theatres. And I knew people that saw her and got some really, great evidence from her. And I think, Val, if you're drawn to books or anything, if you pick up a book, and this is how I've always done it, I go into a shop and I think, oh, that looks interesting. I think, I'm intuitively driven. So read the book and see what you think. And I've always done that. Believe it or not, I haven't read that many books on spiritualism, but I've always been drawn to the books that I have read. I love to listen to people give talks and lectures, especially if they've known the people that they're lecturing about as well, because you get a different insight. But if you want to read the book, she's got some, some wonderful. It's about her story and about her mediumship. So give it a go, Val, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. Totally agree. She was one of my first ever names to make me aware of spiritualism. Mum had her books on her bookshelf for years. So Doris was always very present in my life. And, I would go as far as to say, because of the way she continued the work of spirit for a public era, I would say that she would be, easily considered a modern pioneer.
Yes, definitely.
Of spiritualism. And I've recommended, I don't read many books because spirit tell me not to read them until they've told me what's in them. So they tell me stuff and then I get verification from those books. But I've recommended Doris to many people and they do love them. So, you're absolutely right. Go where the heart takes you.
Absolutely. I think the first book I read was Betty Shine. Have you read Betty Shine's book?
I haven't, but I've seen them. I see the books. I don't necessarily always read them. Sorry, did you say? Wow. Oh. Wow. It would have been gone straight away. So Richard's just been telling us that he was given a signed copy of one of Doris's books. He was moving and was sorting out his stuff and it went into the wrong pile, donated it to a shop, and by the time he realised and got back, it had gone.
So that person who got that book opened it up and thought, wow, result.
Absolutely.
Sign, so yeah.
Absolutely. I have to confess, my circle leader, when I was first developing, Lynn, she had a lovely picture of Doris with the pink roses. And she also had the Healing Hands plaque and some crystal decanters that originally belonged to Doris Stokes.
Oh, wow. How lovely.
She bought them from the auction after Doris had passed. But she kept some sand from the Holy Land in one of the decanters. And we used to do sand readings from that sand. So that's my claim to fame and connection to Doris, reading sand from the Holy Land stored in one of her crystal decanters.
Oh, wow.
That's a story that I could tell my grandchildren if that was ever going to happen.
Definitely.
Oh, hello. Valerie Heaps. Proud to call you my godson, Nick. And I like this lady very much. That's my aunt and my godmother.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's lovely. So, thank you, Valerie.
Not only does the SPTV family accept you, my whole family does.
That's all right then. I've got the stamp.
You have now, and very much so, because Shelley says Karen is one of the few people who has changed my view on a word I can't stand to hear by her explanation. Not many people convince me on things, but she did. Well done. And I can confirm that's very, very true. Shelley is an avid SPTVer. We came to know each other through SPTV. And I paraphrased it. If you'd have kept quiet, darling, by her explanation, I mean, I paraphrased it for you. I'm used to, bless you. But no, it's really important to get people thinking, as you said. And Jessie Lee says it's the first time watching and a positive connection between you both.
Absolutely.
So I'm enjoying this. Shall we give some messages from Spirit out?
Yes, why not?
Do you want to go first or do you want to make me work?
I'll make you work.
All right then. Okay. You can see how this is going to be. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, wow. In actual fact, then, I'm going to stay with you, Jessie Lee, because as I link in for you, you talk about our positive connection. I've definitely got a positive connection building up here with you. Thank you very much. I'm aware of a gentleman stepping forward. Instantly, I felt my back get stronger, so I know that this was a very solid man. I do feel a fatherly link, but there is a bit of distance with that, so I would go as far as saying it's either a father where there was a separation or it would be natural separation, which would mean a grandfather. So that's how I tend to work out the difference between the two. So this fatherly connection, really strong back. So I know he was a grafter. I know towards the end of his life, all of the grafting that he did really did not do him any justice as his body started to become older. But this strength carried him through. And I know his strength carried you through so many experiences, so many difficulties, as he did for many other people. He was a jack of all trades and master of quite a few. He was also a friend to many. I'm also being made aware that I don't know whether there's something to do with his eyes, but I'm just feeling my eyes puffing up a little bit as we speak. So either it would have been a physical feature or it is the emotional connection there, but I do feel puffy around the eyes. Thank you. You can get rid of that one now. I'm also very aware that the breathing was very difficult. I keep getting very short of breath. It's almost as though I want to start panting. And no, that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a dog hanging around. But as I said that, he did make me aware of a very good friend of his that's with him too. As this gentleman draws closer, that it's definitely sunk in the eyes, because my eyes are now starting to sting with this gentleman as well. So I give you that. I hope you can understand who this connection is and where it is, because he's very much talking about this positive connections. And it's almost as though you are trying to establish these positive connections in your life. You've got a couple of trusteds, but you're not entirely sure about everyone. So, he just wants you to know, stick with who you know, stick with what you know, but don't be afraid to reach out. Don't ever let it stop you from growing, but trust the most important positive connection you have, and that is with yourself. And I feel that his advice was always about trusting yourself. So it's always about making sure that if there are people in your lives that you're unsure of, there's a good reason why, but never let it stop you from moving forward in your life. Never let it stop you from making new connections, because you can't. He was a really, really down-to-earth guy, because you can't tar everyone with the same brush. You cannot tar everyone with the same brush. That stops you from growing. So please continue to step forward with positivity and upliftment in your life from this father figure. As he starts to back away, I'm very much aware of something around the risk. So I don't know whether you'd have a watch of his, or there's something around the risk anyway. So I hope you can accept that. And I'll say God bless you and thank you for listening, if indeed you did, because I was so engrossed in talking to this gentleman, I forgot to have a look and see if you were commenting. So if you are online, just let us know. Otherwise, God bless. And if someone's friend with Jessie Lee and she has disappeared, tell her to come back on playback and have a look. There we are. God bless. Over to you, Karen.
Okay. I've got a lady that draws. Close to me. And I feel she suffered with a lot of breathing problems, and I do feel that she was in hospital before she passed, and I feel that she had to have oxygen, because I feel like a mask has been put over my face. I feel that her daughter is on here, but I also feel a close connection with her granddaughter as well, so it could be a daughter or granddaughter on here. I also feel that there was an issue with my throat, my voice. I feel that she couldn't talk. It was like she said a few words and she had to go with her mask. And she's very emotional. She was very emotional, and she did not like being in hospital. I feel that, she just did not like, she wanted to be in her own home. And I think that's what she was talking about. I need to be in my own home, but she couldn't be. So does this make sense to anybody? Does this make sense to you, Val, as your name has just popped up onto onto the screen? Does this make sense to you at all, Val? Or if anybody can understand this, just write in the comments box that you can understand, because I don't always know where I go on here, but I try to be specific to get. Sounds like my mother. Okay, so Christine, you can understand this. Okay, would you? would you understand it's the emotion, and I want to be in my own home, and I do feel that she was quite stubborn. She could be quite stubborn. And it sounds like Stace Shaw's nan. Okay. All right, let's just see what she's
And Nicola's got nan as well.
all right, okay. So I feel that there was a real closeness, and you were with her, whoever I'm with was with her in the hospital, holding her hand and actually giving her a little drink of water and being with her. And I just feel there was like a round the clock vigil, or people were with her all the time. But I know that the person who this is for was with her a lot of the time. If that makes sense to you. I feel that she was a very proud lady, you know. And it was all about her dignity as well, and that's why she didn't like being in the hospital. It was like almost like she was feeling a little bit scared. It feels like she was a little bit scared as well. I know the name Mikey or Michael connects somewhere. If this makes sense to anybody. So if you can, Mikey or Michael, I just feel. And I want to go to February for an anniversary, and I want the end of February as well, around about sort of right at the end of February. So if anybody can understand that, let me know.
I will just say, I think you might very well be with Dawn.
Right. Okay.
With Dawny.
Okay. All right then. So I just feel, Dawny, that that she just wants to come here to say thank you as well, because I feel that she was well looked after. She was well looked after, and I just feel that she just wants to come and say thank you. Oh, right, okay, was his mum, and he is Michael. That's brilliant. She's talking about a ring, so I know that either you or your partner has her ring, and I feel it might be the wedding ring, her wedding ring, and I feel that was left. This lady, it was all about her hair as well. She hated her hair to be out of place, because I feel that she hated her not getting her hair done when she was in hospital, or I don't know if you or somebody tried to make her hair look presentable for her, because but she just wants to say thank you for being there for me. It really meant the world to her. Right, okay. She would have also liked her own, I'm smelling those soaps that soap is like lavender or some floral soap that I feel that she used to love as well. And I think she when she went into hospital, she wanted her things around her, a wash bag and her bits and pieces. And I don't think she liked to take her jewellery off either. I feel she didn't want to take her jewellery off. I feel she wore her rings all the time. This is what she's making me aware of. And I also feel this very dryness in my throat as well. Would you understand, Dawn, where she wants to give right? Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Would you understand, Dawn? She wants to give some support to your partner, because I just feel he needs a little bit of support in his life at the moment. I feel there's some decisions or something he's not sure of, and I feel she wants to give him a push into making a decision, because she just wants to let you know she's there for him and she's there for you as well. And there must have been some talks over this weekend about decisions to be made. She's not saying what, but I just feel there's all right. Right, okay, that's fine. And she didn't say what, but I just feel she was with you when you were sitting down talking about some decisions that's got to made, and she's laughing now. She's laughing. She says, "See, I do listen to you. I do listen to you. I know that I know what you're going through, and I am there." And she's now holding your hand, just like you did for her. So she just wants to let you know that she's listening, and she's laughing because I feel that she was a good listener, and I also feel that she never missed. She never missed anything. She was clever with people. She knew what was going on. It's when she was well. She's a lovely lady, and she just wants to send you a lot of love. Okay.
Well done, Karen. Lovely, lovely, awesome. Whew.
I know.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Some difficult decisions were discussed this weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for shouting out, Dawn, and what a wonderful message, Karen. Thank you so much. Well, I guess it's my turn again then. Could I have a randomly selected... God, put my teeth back in, might help. Could I have a randomly selected individual from the comments, please, Mr. Richard? Oh. Lovely. So tomorrow at 6:30 on Facebook and YouTube will be Joanne Lewis connecting with the angels on the Community Showcase show. So yes, tomorrow at 6:30, the Community Showcase, which is expanding and expounding more and more every time I hear about it, which is so brilliant.
Sounds exciting.
It is amazing. And Joanne is wonderful, wonderful medium, so you could be in for a treat there anyway. But Stace, carry on the good work and join in for the Community Showcase tomorrow at 6:30. Exciting times. And of course, oh, hang on. And absolutely, and so yeah, absolutely, join Stace and Joanne tomorrow at 6:30, and I will have number 12, please, Richard. Yeah, we all go down that route, don't we?
We do.
Helen Lisa Davis, are you still there? If you are, please let you... Oh, wonderful. Well done, mate. So just say hello. Let us know that you haven't just gone to sleep or something. But I'm going to link in for you, if you don't mind, if that's all right with you. Thank you. Okay. As I link in for you, I'm very much made aware of a lady stepping forward. A very down-to-earth lady who said things as she intended them to be said, straightforward to the point, without necessarily beating about the bush. I will probably have to watch myself as far as this lady is concerned. She could probably be squaring me up by the end of the message. And that's the kind of personality she is. I do believe that she would have known that she was linking in before I did and before we met each other, because I can still feel myself, there we go, tripping over my words. So I know that there would have either been problem with the teeth, or she would have had trouble with certain words towards the end of her life. There's something to do with her shoulder as I link in with her closer. I don't quite know what that is, but it is a pain and a burden. The words are still tripping me up. And I know that there would have also been chest issues with her as I go in more so. I'm also made very much aware that this lady would have been very maternal and loving and nurturing towards you, but that doesn't mean to say that she necessarily always played it nice. She would have been firm but fair. She would have put you in your place if you needed to, but it was always with the best of intentions, with absolute kindness, compassion and love. And I do feel with this lady a heaviness actually in her heart. So I know that she would have endured an awful lot, because this doesn't feel physical, this feels emotional. So I know that in her life she would have endured greatly. So I don't know if you can understand this, Lady Helen, as I connect with her. If you can, just give us a little shout and let me know. Thank you. As she steps forward, I'm also being made aware. Oh, it is a day for her eyes, but this one's even worse. Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you. If if I got it wrong. And this is that personality again of there was this cheeky humor, and she would make use of every resource at her disposal. So it is, Mum. Thank you very much. I don't know whether it's her or you, but I'm having trouble focusing. I don't know whether that's visual or mental. I think actually, no, I'm going to stand corrected before any comments come up. Hers was visual, yours is emotional and mental, your inabilities. It's okay to ask questions so long as the question is the form of an answer. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So hers was visual, yours very much. If I've got it back to front, and she nearly tripped me up with that one. If I've got it back to front, but there's this emotional focus. So very distracted at the moment, very not sure of particular situations and people. But you know exactly what. Oh, okay. I don't need to tell her what my opinion would be. She knows exactly what my opinion would be. So very forthright and very prompt in her admonishment of those that would offend her Helen. So please take her strength and her support with you. When it comes to, thank you, there's some kind of memory link to do with, but it's either a butterfly or a dragonfly. It went past too quick. But it's either a dragonfly or a butterfly. There's this memory link that I want to share with you. I'm also very much that's odd. Wow. Okay, normally when I ask for a specific date to help place, there's an anniversary on Tuesday. There's something about an anniversary Tuesday. I don't know whether it's the one just gone, the one that's coming, or the one next week. But I feel like there's an anniversary. I asked for a month, and I was given a day. So I've got to say about Tuesday. I do as I'm told. That's the most important thing. And I'm also very much aware that you. Oh, thank you. She was a whittler, and she was one for giving advice. So I've got to tell you that you've got to start drinking more and more appropriately. None of this modern malarkey stuff, proper drink, have a proper drink. So I'll give you that as well. And what's that on my head? There's something, hang on. Thank you, my darling. I know you say you're going through a lot at the moment because, I obviously touched upon that, but it's almost like she's very, very pleased because she wants to it's almost like put a tiara on your head. So she put it on mine, and I'm sure I'd look great in it.
Oh, definitely.
I wouldn't be the first time. But it's for you, not me, so I'm not allowed to keep it. Almost by way of showing celebration and success. So keep going, because I know that it's good news for you. Things are turning around. Things will turn around, and things are turning around. So keep the faith and keep your strength. But most importantly, when it comes to faith in whatever is important, and faith in anything is fine, as long as you keep the faith in yourself. And I'll say God bless you, and I hope that was okay for you, Helen. So God bless, and wear the tiara with proud from Mum, and I'll say God bless.
Oh, that was lovely. Oh, that was really nice.
Right. I'll get myself in trouble now because I'll have a quick sip of something that I shouldn't have done. Yes.
Exactly. Oh, Helen's laughing. Okay. Right. I've got number 8 in my mind, Richard. So who's number 8? Oh, that's the. All right. Okay. Oh, bless her.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Helen.
That's lovely. Yeah. What a nice way to start a Monday.
Start your day.
How nice.
That's why he chose the name, I think.
Yes, I think that's good. Yeah. Well, I don't normally start my day until about 11 o'clock, so I need some caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just see. Helen, looks like you're going to get a little message from me.
You're getting a double up.
You're getting a double. Oh, it has moved. Well, let's just see if Helen can take it. If she can't, let's see if it goes to the. So, Helen, would you understand? I feel this could be grandfather in the spirit world, because I've just got a very protective feeling about this gentleman, and I do feel that your grandfather was quite a big man, and he had quite big hands, and I feel that he would have really lifted you up when you were little. And he was sort of like maybe held you up high and things like that. And I feel that he was a very, very tactile granddad. And would you also understand, drawing it, that he may have had, or there's a ring, a gentleman's ring connected with him in the family as well. And I think he's just stepped forward because he wants to lift you up at this moment because of what you've said on here. And also he just wants to step in because he wanted to sort of support you as well. Now, I feel this gentleman would have had a shed because he's taken me down the garden now. So I know there would have been a shed and he would have had tools to do jobs with. And I'm using the tools to give you a little bit of a philosophy message here, because you have the tools within you to sort out things around you at the moment, and you've just got to use your own intuition to choose which tool you need. You've got everything there, and I feel this gentleman was quite particular about his tools because he's lining them all up. So I feel that you've got to sort things out, be methodical, line things up. And I also feel that he would have had something with his heart as well, because I've just got heart there. And also I feel that heart is giving you a lot of love at this time. So he just wants to step forward as well to support you and be with you. So you've got a double whammy from your granddad as well today. So I hope that's helped as well. So take their love.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, do you realise something, Karen? We've been sitting here enjoying ourselves so much that the show has reached its conclusion.
Oh no, it's come round too quick. No, I could do another hour.
Rich has just said no, you couldn't. Be honest with you, I would be with you if it weren't for the fact that I had a circle at 2 o'clock as well, because I've really, really enjoyed working with you today, Karen.
I've enjoyed it as well, and I've got a meeting at 1 o'clock, so I can't stay on.
Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I know. Regardless of whether calendars match up or not, we are going to stay very much in touch.
Absolutely.
And so thank you. And thank you to everyone at home for engaging, joining in, being part of the community, asking your questions, supporting each other. You think we don't see those comments of support for each other? We do. We know how good you are at looking after each other as a family. So thank you all at home as well. A big, huge thank you to the wonderful producer, Richard. I can confirm that shed could be my dad, as he had a shed with tools for gardening. So,
right. Okay.
And Dad passed as a heart attack. So
brilliant.
Ma and Pa both double teaming you.
There you go.
Helen, there you go. And don't you find it strange that that Helen had to be your recipient? It kept changing, but it was still number 8.
Yeah.
Because they're making us see that we can not only work together, but work together.
Absolutely. And it was a bit like a double link. And obviously she needed that today, and Spirit know who needs. It's not about what people want. It's about what they need.
Here. And once again, start as we finish and finish as we start. That's exactly what you said right at the beginning. A big thank you. Yes. A big thank you to Richard as well for keeping us on the straight and narrow. He had no idea what he's created by putting us two together, I'm sure. But do carry on enjoying yourselves as part of the community by coming back tonight at 8 o'clock. Is it 8 o'clock? It is 8 o'clock. Tonight at 8 o'clock, got the wonderful Robert Lee back. Really great watching him. So stay tuned, enjoy yourselves, have a brilliant day. We've helped, but now is the time to really make your day start. So go for it with best foot forward. And so from the both of us here and from everyone at SPTV, see you next time. God bless, be good, and take care.
Bye, everybody.